Welcome back, everybody, to the Long Overdue podcast. I know it's been a while since we've uploaded. We're going to try to do a double feature this week, a double upload, to try to catch you up from what we were doing last month. Getting into our first topic, it is time to toot our own horns with this new segment, now dubbed the Blue Wave Hype Train. Democrats in 2025 November election found wins in Virginia, Cincinnati, Georgia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. Last on our list, New York City. New York's mayoral race was won by none other than our boy, our brown brother, set to lead our sister city in our sister blue state on the East Coast. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggie to our Pac, Mr. Zoran Mamdani. How are you feeling about this election, Mac D?
Thank you so much, Alan, dude. Honestly, bro, I gotta say, I was on a pretty depressed few days before Mom Donnie because all the horrible shit going on. But the fact that this was a community effort, the fact that it was everyone came together, door knocked, you know, grabbed Andrew Cuomo's face, put it through the dishwasher, made him actually do a day's work. Andrew Cuomo can no longer show his face in public. You know what I mean? Homie just gonna go change his diaper and go to bed every day. Like the fact that we put that fool down, a Nepo baby, establishment Democrat who was completely useless to us and replace him with someone who, as far as we know, stands for change. Honestly, it made me feel almost proud to be an American. It's a huge step forward. But now I think the work has just begun. We gotta keep going and we gotta keep pushing and we gotta keep keeping people informed. And that's the most important thing.
1000%. Yes, very excited. Our New York mayor-elect, Mr. Zoran Mamdani, congratulations on your victory. We're all very dissatisfied with the fact that we couldn't be in your state voting for someone like you. Hopefully, we'll have more Democrats that are more progressive or Democratic Socialist leaning in the future, and I can guarantee you that we are working on it. So Virginia also picking up 3 blue seats in Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger, Attorney General Jay Jones, and then Lieutenant Governor Ghazala Hashmi. Georgia picking up 2 new public service trade commissioners in Alicia Johnson and Peter Hubbard. Aftab Purval will be the new mayor-elect of Cincinnati, and Governor of New Jersey will be Mikey Sherrill, and Pennsylvania Supreme Court now leans towards a more egalitarian and liberal future. So all of these are great pickups for us. We are going to ensure that we do as much work as possible to continue this blue sweep, this blue wave. And on top of all of that, Proposition 50 passed in our home state of California. So round of applause to all of the community members that made it out to the ballot box. We really appreciate all the efforts in terms of trying to counteract the abhorrent amount of gerrymandering that is happening across the nation. For those who are still shaky on the details of Proposition 50, this was a pro-redistricting measure fairly voted by Californians to counteract Texas and other state gerrymandering abruptly and illegally demanded by the commander-in-chief. The congressional districts that are affected are the following. So District 1, which is northern Sacramento. 3 somehow is stretched from East Reading to East Bakersfield, which is fucking insane, but will now be cut up by District 9 taking over Carson City, which is extremely fair in my opinion. District 22, which just shaves off rural Avenel and other western parts that bleed into San Luis Obispo. District 41, now cutting off Riverside and focusing on central LA, and District 48, which is an extremely wealthy and gentrified area starting from Palm Springs down through San Diego all the way to the Mexicali border. And even if this was cut up more, this would probably have the least amount of impact overall in terms of all the other district changes. We're excited to get to work. We're excited to see what's going to happen in these 5 affected districts: 1, 3, 22, 41, and 48. Now it's up to us to contact our local Democratic Socialists, our progressive associations, and try to find valid candidates that have a chance in those districts. It's important to note that although we have high hopes, although Zoran Mamdani was a no-name, a 1 in a million chance of the DSA actually having a well-spoken, well-primed, and well-equipped candidate to run for one of the largest cities in our country. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, like, it's going to be a lot harder than we think. It's not as easy as just phoning up these orgs and like putting in Democratic Socialist or a Progressive. The DSA had a "it's our time now" type of meeting recently, like last week, early November. The live turnout was actually abysmal. The speakers are still extremely young. If I have to be like completely honest, most of the DSA, and this is a Democratic issue, most left-leaning organizations way too perfectionist in terms of the way they go about inclusion and execution. And I'm not saying that setting a higher bar is bad, but to be exclusionary when it comes to layman rhetoric that you need to switch back and forth between when trying to run for office is essential. And it's something that I feel like we pat down too often. I think it's actually going to pose a major issue because I tuned into that DSA meeting last week. To be honest, I was not impressed by the speakers or the messaging that was being distributed throughout each and every other county and state DSA leadership. It truly is going to be up to people that already have some type of media training with similar goals in mind to step up and then join those organizations, because I'm going to tell you right now, their base is not strong enough to do a full sweep. It's
100%,
hard
dude.
to explain in context, MacD, but if you saw the videos I saw, your confidence will be absolutely drained. The beating around the bush that people do. Because here's the thing, we run a podcast, right? Me and MacD have known
Hmm.
each other for a really long time. Our academic curriculum kind of geared us towards being prepared for public speaking in a way where it's kind of difficult for us to turn it off. So if we
Hmm.
wanted to put out a strong message, we know how to execute it because we understand the majority sentiment that happens at a local level, right? So when it comes to people in the Central Valley, we know what the general cultural zeitgeist is, so we know how to speak to the broader voting base. But this is something
Hmm.
that the DSA is not very good at. This is something that indivisible leadership is not very good at. It's something that they're going to need to learn from people like us. To be frank, people that are actually like a couple levels ahead of us. I don't know what to expect, but you can bet that the Long Overdue podcast will be on top of it. And whenever we see a plus candidate, right, that we're ready to endorse, you can bet your ass that we're going to be the first people with that type of information, so that way you can get on the bandwagon and then start bolstering their own promotional campaign.
And when it comes to candidates, I feel like a lot of people in this day and age, we've been ingrained in our mind, government sucks and politicians suck. So we're very easy to like dismiss any sort of misalignment with our views. I feel like Zoran's very unique in that like there's very few things that I've heard him say that I disagree with. He's innately very likable. He's a great public speaker. But I think that we need to like what we need to look at when we look at a politician, like not everybody will be Zoran Mamdani when it comes to like, public speaking skills, being able to navigate that. But what we can look at is at the bare minimum, can we reason with this individual? Is the basis of this individual's beliefs, are they based on corporate donations or are they based on actual true intention? Democrats are way more malleable, a lot of times for the worse, right? You have to be like, how can we reason with this politician? Is this politician someone that we can, speak our mind to and they'll be taken seriously? Or is it someone that's just going to cave to money or pressure from the opposing party? I think that's the main thing you got to look at. Like, where are their beliefs based on, right? And like I said, obviously, there's some beliefs that like you just can't compromise on. Like, if there's somebody that's like undeniably, oh, let's send as much money to Israel, let's send as much like all the weapons to Israel, or like, oh, like let's just ban all abortion. Like, those are things that are like, okay, this person's beliefs are obviously not based on fact. There might be some a shit ton of money behind it, things like that, that they're gonna prioritize that over me. Because like Alan said, you cannot, there will never ever be someone that you agree 100% with, but does that mean that you have to completely dismiss them? You really have to take time to think deeply. And like, okay, can I reason with this person? And the one that you feel you can reason with most should be the one that you vote for.
We can't just run our mouths and ask
Mm-hmm.
and fucking just
Exactly.
keep asking without putting an effort for searching. And this is something I
Mm-hmm.
want to make clear for my indivisible constituents and DSA members. I really, really want you guys to understand this when you guys are talking about which candidates to run. What hill you're actually willing to die on. I'm saying shave it off to the essentials, right? Think about your main 5 concerns in the world today and make sure those main 5 things are met. And then everything else that might muddy the water in the era in which we're just trying to take down the Trump regime, drop it. Like, drop your petty egos, drop your need for perfection. Like you were saying, like, not everyone's going to say everything the exact way you want to hear it. But for as long as their baseline meets your 5 main concerns, you should push candidates based off of that criteria. If you think
Mm-hmm.
ending the genocide in Gaza is a primary non-negotiable stance in which needs to be publicized, You can ask for that from your candidate. Same thing with like guaranteeing SNAP benefits, maybe tuition free college is up there. Like whatever the hell is in your top 5 slots, please make this your main focus. Everything else is whatever. Everything else is fucking whatever, dude. If they align with your core beliefs, they're more than likely a good enough person to hold the line when we ask them to vote a certain way in Congress. They're not going to fold like these past 8 establishment Democrats that are taking APAC money. Everyone's going to campaign fundraise. Most of the funds and the allocation of donations and super PACs, all of that shit is transparent. You can look it up yourself. I encourage you to just use all of the tools at your disposal, but please do not be that picky about rhetoric and cadence. We speak strongly about certain subjects to the point we take light jabs at certain things, even if we're not beholden to like the actual ideas that the internet kind of pushes onto certain political identities. We're all just gagging around because it's true for Zoran. Why do we trust Zoran Mamdani? Mamdani
Exactly. Yeah.
partakes in his own city's culture and street life and nightlife, etc. Look, everybody can match the amount of media content that they can push out. Not a lot of people can say that they live that life. Maybe you have your critiques about Adam Gray or whatever current Senate or congressional leadership that we have here in California or in your district. You should go out publicly to address those concerns and then see if they find themselves in the places that you find yourself regularly as an everyday citizen. New
Exactly.
York is famous for their corner stores and bodegas. California is famous for having
It's Mexicans.
yeah.
Yep.
Being another cultural melting pot on the other side of the country. We have good food. We have different concentrations of different cultural backgrounds. If you don't see your elected officials partaking in what you consider to be an everyday lifestyle for yourself, then they're most likely another suit and tie to fill a place because they have the wealth and finances to sustain a campaign. Zoran Mandami would go to the fucking local halal truck and fucking grab some biryani, right? And fucking chop it up with the locals. If your elected
Exactly.
officials don't do that, then they're not fucking from here, right? Then they're not for you.
Exactly, dude. Especially when it comes to like sticking to like the few core principles and kind of showing the people that you're there with them. 'Cause everyone's been saying, yo, speak to what the people want. Like, we don't give a fuck. Like, and do what he did. Like, you notice every time Zorn was asked about Israel, was asked about that shit. Because you know that's the only thing they got him on, right? You can't go out here and say, yo, this guy wants to make buses free fast. He wants to make to keep the city safe in a reasonable way, you know, not just beat everybody up that's doing crime. You can't hate on him for that, right? So you gotta come up with stupid shit, you know, and then he keep redirecting the fucking thing. Look, I am not fucking running for mayor of Tel Aviv, bro. I'm running for mayor of New York motherfucking city, bro. Okay, so stop asking me this dumb shit, right? But he doesn't say it like that, bro. He's got his suit, he's got his tie, he classed it up, you know what I mean?
And I'm going to give you guys a concrete example. As prudish as the public can be in terms of selecting candidates, we don't give up on Gavin Newsom. And Gavin Newsom
Mm-hmm.
is using AI shit posts on the daily. He's using
Bro,
AI
this is a
shit
catch-up
posts
one.
on the daily, and you guys respect this man, right? Not only because of what he stands for right now, currently in the defense against the administration, but I don't know, for some fucking dumb reasons, like he's handsome or whatever the fuck. Totally ignoring the fact that we live in the second most expensive state in the entire country. And that Gavin
Mm-hmm.
Newsom over his career is a big part of the reason why that is. There's a bunch of examples that we could point to, but that would have to be in its own episode entirely. I've said many times before, if we weren't in these circumstances, I would not give him a chance either. But
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. It doesn't stop at AI shit posting. It doesn't stop at inviting controversial figures on your podcast. That didn't stop Gavin Newsom because Gavin Newsom knows what the fuck Gavin Newsom is about and he makes it known. You're going to get two people, right? You're going to get this kind of squeaky clean Winnie Hut Jr. Zionist like Ben Shabibo running, and then you're going to get someone that's actually from your hood. You're going to get someone that's actually kind of like Zora Rondami is going to chop it up with you, right? That's gonna do a fucking Jaeger bomb with you at the fucking local pub, at the fucking partisan, whatever, wherever the fuck, at Mangoes in Sacramento. I could just keep like listing the type of cultures that exist like in every single one of our major cities. None of those people are gonna speak pretty to you. They're just gonna tell it to you like it is. Like me and Mac D right here. We're gonna tell you like it is. We don't give a shit whether you like the way we say it or not. This is reality, right? We're trying to get you guys to participate in objective reality at a ground level. So we got to get with the program because that's what we got to aim for. Because there's no way we run milk toast in and win in all 5 districts that we need to flip. All right, we're going to bring our video to a close, but don't worry, because god damn, the week of November 15th will not fucking disappoint us for sure. We have so much news to cover. There's so much juicy shit that me and Mac D are about to throw down for all y'all in a giant compilation video. These files are coming out, and for content creators, we are fucking livid right now. So that has been the Long Overdue podcast, but we're gonna leave you with a sneak peek preview of what is to come next.
Given the recent updates to the Epstein case and the connection, physical and chemical connection between Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, does this bring to new light that the old 2016 election? Was that election simply Democrats versus Republicans, or two hosts fighting over their man?
Also next week on the Long Overdue podcast, will Trump surpass Joey Chestnut as the new Glizzy Guzzler champion?
Who learned the most from Bill Clinton's private saxophone lessons, Monica Lewinsky or DJT?
Who will convert to Christianity first, JD's couch or his Hindu wife?
Will the Republican Party now dethrone the Catholic Church over the Most Diddled Kids Award?
When Megyn Kelly said Epstein wasn't a pedophile because he didn't like 8-year-olds, only legally passing 15-year-olds, you think her kids were waiting in the carpool at school, or were they trapped in the basement in Mar-a-Lago?
Was Monica just the scapegoat for the two-throat goat President DJT?
Do you think California will get a high-speed rail now that Erica Kirk is the CEO of Turning Point USA and has learned a thing or two about getting railed at high speeds by almost every conservative grifter in the book?
Do you think that DJT can now dethrone Lauren Boebert as the new tugboat champion?
Will Pam Blondie and Asinine Levitt finally make Daddy proud, or will the Stockholm Syndrome finally wear off? All of this and more to the Long Overdue podcast. I'm Alan 4G,
And I am Mac D.
and we'll see you guys next week.